there's this major run right here, and sure enough, we got a beaver in it. Look at that. Big old beaver too. Wow. Conibear. Got him good. It's just a textbook spot for a 330 conibear trap. Oh, wow. It's a big beaver. Hey guys, I just caught this big old beaver here in this run going into a trout stream, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to clean this in the field, how to skin this in the field to get the pelt along with the meat. Right away, before any of you come at me for trapping and killing, you know, such a cool animal, first of all, yes, they are a cool animal, but I was reached out to by a trout fisherman friend of mine who said that they're really damaging this trout stream down there, just flooding it up. I mean, there are trees chewed down everywhere. Yeah, dude, they're ruthless. Like, this big tree's gonna go. Maple looks like it's gonna be going. They have decimated this area. Holy smokes, they're going for this big guy. That's insane. And as a result, I figured I'd come in here during the season and get them when their pelts are still worth something, opposed to if you wait, a lot of times DNR or nuisance trappers just come in with like thermal scopes and shoot them, and they don't even get utilized, they just go to waste. So I figured, since I'm back here, hiked back in here, instead of lugging this whole entire thing out, I'm going to show you how to skin this in the field. By skinning it in the field, it just saves a lot of hassle lugging the whole thing back. I'm pulling traps today too, so my sled's going to be full of gear. As you'll see, this is a 330 conibear. This beaver did not suffer at all. I mean, walked right into it, and very humane kill. The first thing I have to do though is get this 330 conibear off the beaver to be able to skin it, and as some of you may know, it is not easy to do. I have a method that I use, a rope, to help close these springs because they're super strong. Unfortunately, I forgot that rope, so I'm gonna have to just use some brute force to somehow squeeze these, latch them to get that undone. I will link a video right here though, showing you guys how to use that rope method to set a 330 and help you out a lot. Hopefully I can get this thing undone myself. Oh, this is a big beaver. There's the stream in the background, just a beautiful setting here. Gonna skin him right here because what better place to enjoy nature than right along the stream. All right, to start, I'm gonna cut around this leg. I'm trying my best not to cut the Achilles tendon. I'll explain why that is when going around here. And then cut the tail off. I save the tails and use them for ice fishing bait. They're incredible. Now I'm also gonna just cut these front legs off, or at least make a cut around them. I guess you don't technically have to cut them off, but I usually do. Person who introduced me to trapping when I was younger went by the name of Jack Kriegel. He was my high school principal, a great friend of my dad's. And yeah, he introduced that to me up in northern Wisconsin. He's passed away at this point, so every time I do something like this, I tend to kind of think about him. He was a great man. All right, at this point, we can start making the cuts up. I am gonna put my glove back on for this because when you're messing around by the castor gland and the cloaca of the beaver, it can get kind of nasty. I'll be honest, this knife is not the most sharp knife, but once I do this part, this initial part, I'll use a surgical knife pretty quick here. So the skin is thinner here, so I'm just kind of lifting up, cutting around that cloaca. And once I get to the top part, I'm around that. Now I can start making these cuts all the way up to the chin. And like I said, this knife is not the most sharp. Normally I have a thinner one that I can kind of do all in one motion. Now that I'm done with that, I can switch to my more surgical blade. And for this, I'm using a replaceable surgical blade. These things are sharp as heck. Snap that on there. Now I can use this to kind of work this down. And I'm just kind of lifting and peeling it back. Being really careful around the cloaca. There's the oil glands and the castor in there. I do not want to slice that. So you can see how this is already working its way down. Kind of pull on it, let the knife do some work too. And I'm gonna continue that on this side and this side. I'm also going to be working from here. I don't want to cut from here to here. I need this to be a beaver blanket when it's stretched. So I need to kind of work my knife through here. See how there's a hole right there? I need to kind of cut that leg around this, and then I'm eventually going to slide this out, and I'm going to show you how I can hang it up to continue my work up there and pull it down from the tree. Now at this point I've gotten that hide worked down a little bit, and what I'm going to do is flip the whole thing over. What that does is it allows me more pull on this hide to continue that down. And my main goal is continuing to work around this foot here. I want this foot to slide out from here. Right now you can see it's not yet. So I gotta keep working it like this, being careful not to put a hole in it. Obviously all this grass on the belly, not ideal if you are wanting to save the meat, but the main thing that I like to take is the back straps, and those are still protected by the hide right now, which is partially why, there we go, why I like to do this hanging method, as you'll see. At this point I just got that foot through it. That was my goal for that. Now I'm going to be able to hang this up in the tree and show you how I do the rest of this. What I'm gonna do for that, I've got this green rope and I've got a sliding knot on this rope. I'm gonna put that sliding knot right there over his one hind foot, and this is gonna allow me to hoist him up in the tree. So at this point you want to find some type of limb to be able to hang the beaver from. Ideally like eye level where the feet are, to then kind of work that down. So oh, it's a heavy thing. I'll do this to start. Now eventually I might raise it a little bit more. But for starters, I just kind of hooked another loop over this branch right here. I think this branch is sturdy enough. Another option, if you have the right limb for it, like I could do it on this one too. Maybe I'll do that. I could get the, once I get the other leg out, maybe I'll tie that to that other leg, and from there hang the whole thing with both legs on that side tree. For the time being though, I'm gonna just continue, now that I have it up here at eye level, way easier than crouching down. I'm gonna just kind of work this skin. I can pull it a lot easier. I'm kind of pulling and using the knife at the same time. And most importantly, I'm not gonna have to lug this 60-pound rodent out of here. Obviously, for those of you that are trapping in a boat or driving a four-wheeler to a spot, trapping these animals, it's not an issue, but I wanted to make a video showing kind of how to do this in the field, along the stream. It's kind of like the original trappers, you know, when they were expanding out west. It's not like they were taking it back to their heated shop, you know, they were trapping and doing this right there. They were the frontiersmen, and along with, like, I feel like trapping holds a lot of that history for me, and that's one of the things that makes it so meaningful. There's apparently different ways to skin beavers. Like, some people do what's called a clean skin. Like, they are not trying to get any of this meat on here. They do it really carefully to cut close to the hide, and as a result they don't have to do much fleshing after the fact. I'm not doing that. I'm solely trying to get the hide off the animal without putting holes in it. I can bring this to a fleshing board later. This part of the beaver is pretty tough. Like, you're not gonna just pull this part. This one you gotta use the knife. It's definitely a little time consuming, but especially on the bigger ones like this, it's really on there. Definitely the toughest part is getting this back leg, this other back leg through too. You just have to work around it. It really holds the back hind quarter, like the skin is right to the meat. So you just kind of got to be careful, but I'm at the point where I can kind of pull this through. It's close. There we go. Now, at this point, I'm gonna try to hang that other thing on there too, and it's gonna allow me to have this hung up also. Now what I'm doing is I had this loop, it's also a sliding loop. I'm just putting that right here, and now I can hang this. It's like a gambrel, but it's portable. That's with those sliding knots. I can show you how to make it, but it's just essentially I call it the sliding bee knot. Now I can lift this bad boy back up. Oh, my deltoids just gave out. Oh boy. It's a heavy animal. So I can essentially use this hind leg hole to be able to pull that down. And what that's doing is giving me a lot of pressure on that. Now eventually, I get to this point, I don't really need to use the knife for all of it. I'm gonna just give this a pull, and you're gonna see a lot of this hide just pull right down. Where'd I throw my knife at? Uh-oh. I need to give it a little cut right here because some of that meat's holding to it. There we go. So this now, a lot of this should just pull on its own. Just like when casing a deer. Just little pulls. Might need to use the knife a little bit. Especially on the bigger beavers like this, it's gonna be a little more tough. And another advantage of this right now is the weight of the hide is almost helping pull it. I don't have to pull as hard because the weight of the hide is pulling that down. So I'm just kind of guiding it along with my knife. And once again, the main reason I'm doing it this way, hanging it from the tree, not only am I not hurting my back by bending over, but these are the loins. Now they're not full of grass as a result of this. And I'm gonna be able, this is the sirloin right there, you can see that. I don't know if I'm gonna take these hindquarters, to be honest, but I'm definitely taking the sirloin and the loins for eating. Now, I know that might sound gross to you, but all I'm gonna say is don't knock it until you've tried it, right? I was skeptical also when I first, read some of these forums of trappers eating beaver, and Ranella has a cookbook where he talks about beaver tasting like beef, and I was like, kind of called BS, and took me a while to get brave enough to try it. It's legit. Like, it is really, really good. I couldn't believe it either, so I feel like I at least owed myself to do it. Personally, I have kind of this mentality: if I'm going to take the life of an animal, whether that be hunting, fishing, trapping, whatever, I owe it to that animal to utilize all of it. And that's just kind of the way I was raised, and that's my mindset when it comes to being an outdoorsman. It's disrespectful to the animal to not utilize all of it and waste it. So when I saw that beaver meat tastes good, I gave it a try, and sure enough, like, it's really good. I'm not even just saying that, you guys. It tastes like beef. So apparently mountain men back in the day actually used to eat the tails too. They'd roast these over the fire because of all the fat and the gristle that were in them. That was the nutrient that they needed at that point. I haven't tried that yet, but I do want to give that a try. They say to use beavers you trap in the fall for that, because they're going to be a lot more fatty in that tail opposed to in the spring. Now at this point, you can just see I kind of trimmed down the front leg. I can poke my finger through there. Okay, so I'm working the scalpel around that, and then eventually that pops right off. It's really just a mixture of pulling and cutting it down. Right here, I'm starting to get to the head of the animal. I can see its ear right here. I'm gonna slice right there. I just cut through its ear. You can see the little hole right there. Make sure you do that close to the base of the head. At this point, my scalpel is getting a little dull. I probably could change it, but I'm so close to being done that I'm gonna just try to finish it up. We'll work over on this side. See, now I cut too far down on this front shoulder where I actually cut into the meat. Instead, I want to work more this way. At this point, I technically could try to hang it up a little bit higher. I'll just angle it down a little bit, but instead I'm just kneeling down. It's fine. I'm so close to the end. There's that front shoulder. Once again, utilize that armhole then to help pull and apply pressure to it. I'm getting way more meat on this than I normally do. But like I said, it's a rough skin. All right, here goes another ear located right here. And at this point, the weight of this helps so much because I don't have to pull so hard. The weight of it is pulling down there. There's right there. I just cut the eye. Here's the other eye right here. Cut through that. We are getting very close to the end here, guys. There's the nose. And here's my beaver pelt. I just switched it back to wide view here. There you have it. As a result, I'm taking this beaver pelt out, this big blanket. Gonna get this tanned, maybe made into a hat or some gloves or something. I'll take the back straps and the sirloins off of this, and I'm gonna leave the rest of the carcass for the coyotes. It's gonna save me a ton of time when I'm walking back out, not having to lug that massive rodent out of here. I'll just be bringing the hide, and I got some plastic bags for the meat. Hope this video helped you. I know it might be a little graphic, a little gruesome. So we'll see if YouTube filters any of that out, but at the end of the day, it's part of our history. In a way, it's a big reason the United States of America was founded, because of beaver trappers expanding out west. So it's cool to continue that tradition a little bit and help remove them from a trout stream that was being kind of dammed up the way it shouldn't. I'm gonna roll this up, pack them out of here. And I've got ice fishing bait for the future.